For this video, I'm going to show creating a virtual machine skill set for a load balancer. So first, let's just create the skill set. Virtual machine skill set, let's create, and we're going to do a new one called demo RG. So I'm going to wait till it's done deleting that one, just because I have that name. That's what I usually use, so I'll come back. Alright, it's deleted, so let's just say create new MLRG. Okay, let's refresh it. MLRG. Let's do east. New demo scale set. We don't need availability zone. We'll do flexible, standard. This is fine. And let's check that'll be the VNet. And here we could set to use the load balancer or not, but I'll create the load balancer later on. Scaling, we'll do initial instance count to 1. We'll keep it manual. And I'll come back later after the skill set's created. And I forgot to show that I didn't, in the network section, that I didn't assign it the public IP address. Alright, it's ready. So look, no public IP address. We go to instances. It's creating it. After it's created, we'll see that there's no public IP address in it. But next thing to do is we're going to create a custom script extension. And so here's the PowerShell one. And all it's doing is, adding the web server and then set content. It's going to create this default.html file in this path. And then here's what the file is going to be. It's going to say this is a server, and then it's going to use this variable environment, and it's going to get the computer name. So it's running. So here's our virtual machine scale instance, and it's east. Wait, what? I guess I did give it a public IP, but where is it? Alright, I guess I gave it a public IP address. Anyway, so yeah, so it's going to create this file when we do it. So it's going to get that computer name from, you go to the scale set instance, and I don't know why it's not calling this scale since it's calling a virtual machine. But anyway, it could be here if it was normally, but here's the computer name, or properties, or you could just scroll down to properties, and that's the computer name. Let me see some. I don't know why I created it as a virtual machine instead of scale set instance. Hopefully that doesn't mess it up, but I must have clicked the wrong thing when I was creating it. So next thing we're going to do is create a storage account to, because all I have is this, but that's where the Cloud Shell is, create a storage account to put this file into. So you could just call it whatever. Let me see what I'm going to use it. Okay, storage count 345, that's what I called it. East, LRS, everything else is fine. Create, I'll come back when it's ready. And we're going to just create a container in it and get the URL and upload the file into it. Alright, let's go to it. Containers, container, it's called script, and we're going to change it to blob anonymous access so we have access to it. Now we have it. Now let's upload file. I'm gonna re-download just in case, since if I update it. Alright, let's get it. It's called this one. And upload. Alright, so now we have it. So let's go to it. Let's copy its URL. And that's what we're gonna put in the script. Custom extension. Put it here. It's the same. So these are just PowerShell commands. So first we're creating a configuration. We put in the URL of the script, and it's going to execute PowerShell, and it's going to execute that file that it's getting, and then we're gonna first get a reference, create a variable, get a reference to our scale set, demo scale set, which is what it's called. So get AZVM-SS for scale set. Then it's gonna add an extension to it, and we're saying the name is custom script, whatever this is called, is the extension. It's a custom script extension, and there it's getting these config settings. Then we're gonna update the scale set, and so that's all I put here. So let's open up Cloud Shell. I'll come back when it's ready. Alright, so clear screen. First thing is get this. Next we want to do that. Okay. Then we want to add the extension. And then we want to update it. Come back when it's ready. Alright, so it's created. So now we could go to our scale set, go to instances. Let's refresh it. And if it says, you scroll aside and it says latest model is no, then you just click it and you say upgrade, but it looks like it doesn't need to be. So now we actually create the load balancer. So just like I showed another, the basic load balancer. Whoops. So I won't go into all the details of it, because I already created a video for it. Load balancer east again, and it recommends standard, so I'll do standard, but you could do basic. And I want public, so you could, access from internet. Let's see, front end IP configuration. Let's add it. Call it front end IP, and let's create a new public IP address. Just call it public IP. We don't need availability zone. Add. And I could do the backend pools and all that here, or I'll just do it. I'll show you after I create it. Alright, it's created. So now let's create the backend pool, because we already created the front end. So that's the next step. pool, virtual network, create that one. We want IPv4, by Nick, and virtual machines. No, we want virtual machine scale set. Okay. East US, let me see. Did I not do an East US? I did. Oh, I made the what's it called? The scale set basic, so it needs to be the same SKU. So let's just delete this load balancer actually, and I'll make it basic. And I'll come back. It's all the same steps, but I'll just change it to basic. Just one thing to note is you gotta create a new public IP. I'll do static, because the other one was the standard, and now I have to create a basic one. Anyway, now we can create the pool after this is ready. Alright, let's go add it. Just call pool. That virtual associate to virtual scale set. And that, why is it not working? It's East US. And RGPNet is I really have no idea. I think it's because it's calling this virtual machine and not an instance. Let me do some troubleshooting. Alright, so I think I figured out what was going on. Was I changed the skill set to have one instance, and that's why I was saying it was a virtual machine instead of scale set instance. So I made a whole new thing and I created two instead of one this time. So I'm gonna add the extension again using PowerShell, and then I'll create the load balancer, and then I'll be able to create the backend pool and add the scale set. So I'm gonna do all that stuff, the same steps I did earlier, but I'll come back when I'm at adding the backend pool part. Sorry if this video is so long. I kept on trying to change it and figuring out what was the problem, and I think that's the problem. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I went to the instances and I had to upgrade them. It was the latest model said no, so you just click them and say upgrade, if I didn't mention that before. So looks like everything's gonna work now. So I'll be back when I'm doing the load balancer part. I'm gonna keep it standard. Let's see if that one works. Front end IP I created, and pub IP, and I'll create the backend pool after this is created. Alright, moment of truth. So it has to be the same virtual network that your skill sets created, and it worked this time. So it wasn't popping up before, and I'm thinking that's because I only put one instance of the VM and all that, like I said before. So give it the IP address, and do add. So I could have done a basic load balancer, but I'm gonna do standard just in case. Alright, here it is. And if it gives, here it says upgrade to instances, you click it, go to your instances, and like I did previously, latest model no, you say upgrade. and I'll come back when it's done. But actually, let's just move on to Health Pros while it's doing that. And it's the same as the Azure Basic Load Balancer video I did, where I went through all the steps of, create the virtual machines, but this time I'm doing a scale set. But anyway, so do that, you create the load balancer, then you create the front end IP with it, then you create the pool, backend pool, then you create the Health Pro, and then you create the rules load balancer. So we'll just call it Pro, whatever. 88 TCP port 80, blah blah blah. And I'm gonna go quick through it because it's already a long video, and other videos longer where I have an overview of the basic load balancer. Load balancer rules, great. So get the front end, port 80, backend pool, Health Pro. We don't need session persistence, but if you want to, let's do that. Everything else is fine. Cool. Come back when it's ready. Alright, it's created. So now let's where is it? See more. Here's our public IP address. So if we go to it, so we can see if it's working. Whoops. Let's check that that we have the rule, or in our scale set that we have on our networking, the network security group rule to add. We need to add the inbound source any. That's good. It's fine. It's HTTP port 80, so then this will work. You gotta add that rule to accept it as a web server. If I want to be more specific, I could have just said TCP. Oh, here it is. Okay, so now this should work. Alright, cool. So it's working. Now if we do our default.html, that file we've created, here's that, which was not this one. Which was this one. This is a server, and then here's our computer name. So that works. So this is a long video of how to create a load balancer with scale set.